Good afternoon everyone, I am Udit, co-founder and CMO of Tracker. So Tracker is a performance marketing software which can be used by like D2C brands. So yeah, so as we know that today's topic is how to scale your business profitability and build a brand for your top 20%. So here with me are great panelists, Abhishek Lodha, co-founder of Innersense, Archit Agarwal, founder of Sanfe. I think he's not here. Dr. Deep Lodha, founder of Online Trip. Kirti Poonia, co-founder of Relove and ex-CEO and board member of Okhai. And Navin Joshua, founder and director of GreenHonchos. And Rahul Khandelwal, AVP, Organized Trade of Godrej Consumer Product. So I would like to take an opportunity from the panelists to introduce themselves.
Hello. Hi. I'm Dr. Deep Lodhari. We founded All That Dips in 2017 and we have been growing ever since. We specialize in fresh, preservative-free, chemical-free, clean label dips, sauces, condiments, and we retail online, offline, omni-channel, basically.
Myself, Navin Joshua, founder director at GreenHonchos. We are a D2C enabler across the full stack technology, digital, and powering brands online.
Hi everyone, my name is Kirti. For the last 6 years, I've been running a D2C brand called Okhai, and now I've just set up a circular tech company. We help D2C brands set up their own resale shops. So going from overproducing to helping them produce less and still make money.
Hi everyone, myself Abhishek. Here I am representing the company called Innersense. We are India's first healthy organic lingerie brand. So we make the Indian female life easy by providing them an antimicrobial lingerie, and that too the eco-friendly. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rahul Khandelwal. I work with Godrej as Associate Vice President for Organized Trade. I have 15 years of experience in FMCG. Prior to Godrej, I was with Britannia. Yeah.
So let me tell you my story. I was a curious child, like from childhood, So I put water in, a petrol tank of my dad's bike. So yeah. So here is, a question from the great panelist. So what were your experiment with the growth strategy?
So, I think growth is something that comes with, consumers. First is awareness, so we needed to reach out to as many people as we wanted. But then the thing was, it had to, pass on from one consumer to other consumer. The word of mouth needed to be spread, and that is something was very important for us. So what we have done is, we have created a community online where people can brag about our products on and tell their friends, and that's where they get incentivized. So that's how we have been growing. I think. Did you hear me? Yeah. So that's how we have been growing. By community marketing, and that has been one of the growth hacks that we have done till date. And that's something that has helped us grow from a very small brand coming from a tier 2 city and having good presence across major metropolitan centers across India.
Yeah, please, Navin.
So yeah, our experience is more based on how we've worked with brands, retailers across in the last few years. I think one interesting experiment or change we've seen work for quite a few, especially in the fashion lifestyle space, is there was no range or no offering or selection or catalog that was purely meant for e-commerce. So since we represent the e-commerce side of the landscape, it largely was experimental, where the existing range was just pretty much published online, and brands just wanted to go with the flow, test waters, see what happens. A year, a season into it, it gave fairly good results. But it only took a brand from point A to point B with a similar planning across channels of sales. And after that, I think circumspect change into believing. And then brands really started to say, okay, now that we've gone to point B, the internal systems have understood how an e-commerce D2C can work. And then there were capsule ranges created that we were able to fairly successfully push across branding, digital, and different customer touch points. And we've seen a lot of brands now specifically having planning and merchandising for e-commerce as a channel, which is different from the way and the consumer experience and journey across offline versus online.
And I feel like, after COVID, there are like circumstances has been changed. There are like lots of brands who are offline and moving to the online. There was like, I have seen the change in the Brazilian market. So these guys were having the stores offline, and each one of them is having, the online store, and they are selling online. So this is an advantage for the, the loss of technology like us, like COD, like many of the, the mowing gauge. These guys can be like have the benefit of the COD like COVID-19. Yeah, please, Kirti, what's your like experiment with a growth strategy?
So when we were setting up the business, we realized that there's a huge gap between customers and artisans, and customers want to know where their money is going. How do we use technology and e-commerce to build honesty, transparency between that process? So we definitely used Instagram to our advantage. You could see which village you're buying from, which artisan you're buying from, how she's making the product. And that transparent window created a whole lot of trust, and that became our whole brand. Definitely has been the reason for the account to go from 100 followers to over 3 lakh followers today. If I talk about Relove, which is being set up now in 2022, the rules of the game have changed. Our branding for Relove is that of an activist. It's trying to solve the climate crisis, and it understands that D2C brands need to grow and need to produce, but how can they use resale to acquire new customers? So it's all about the storytelling.
Absolutely. I agreed on this point. I have seen the change, like where these guys, like one of the agency side is having, category 1. They were targeting category 1 traffic, the premium and the union territories, the premium traffic and the union territories, like the capital city, like cities like Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai. And now they are moving towards, category 2 via influencer marketing. The influencer who is having 8,000 to 10,000 of the followers can also be the part of that brand. And I have the case study. I have seen the case study of Mamaearth, how they have grown their business from like to zero to not zero, but they have increased their revenue from like 120%. Yeah. So do you want to say something more about the growth strategy, or like, yeah. So yeah. So Abhishek, like, what's your experiment with the growth strategy? I'm sorry, I'm very bad with the name.
So it was a very interesting story. I can say it is a story. The first experiment what we did, it was a time when we were struggling with our business. We just started with our own personal saving, me and my co-founder. There was no funding, and there was like, being from Ahmedabad, we were not exposed to the VC market or the HNI market that time, and were not having much knowledge also. So we set up we made 50 to 60 SKUs in the bras and the panties, and we were running, that is a regular one with the organic cotton and bamboo fiber. All of a sudden, me and my co-founder were sitting, and we were thinking where is the gap market? Like, there is no gap market in the lingerie. There are only very few brands, but they all are doing all kind of bras. So how we can fight with those like Jockey, Enamor, or the other competitor at that time? That time, Jivame and the Clovia were also very new at that time. So we thought there is ample of products are available in the market when we go for wired bra, for the padded bra, for the non-padded bra. But all of a sudden, when a female becomes pregnant or when she delivers a baby, she needs a separate bra which is called feeding bra. But there is no brand who is concentrating on that maternity bra or the feeding bra. So just one question came to our mind, is that why a lactating mother shouldn't have a good lingerie? There was no option. Even the big brands also are having 1 or 2 options. So we took it as a challenge and we experimented by launching the 30 styles in the maternity lingerie. And all of a sudden, that gave us the entry to the women's wardrobe, and that's how that our brand got scaled up. So that experiment was the best experiment we ever done with us.
The clothing is like having the great challenges while remarketing their product to their consumer. So how do you like tackle these challenges like remarketing to the like to that
As of now, like if we talk especially about our own website, we are having nearby 35% of the repeat customer, and we concentrated more on the product quality, so which bring customer back to our product. So initially retargeting that like paid marketing, everybody does it, but the product speak itself. So we do not get much problem in terms of retargeting that customer back.
35% is like amazing number, you know, like
I think I will give credit to the designs and the quality of the product for that.
Super, like I agree. Yeah. So Rahul, like what's your experiment with the growth strategy?
See, while everybody is from a pure D2C, I represent Godrej. So Godrej also has its own smaller D2C. There is goodness.me, there was BBlunt. So I share an example of BBlunt. Now it is, it's from the very basic field example. We started as a D2C brand in BBlunt, and then we thought, no, we'll have a great creative, and we'll use it to target all the shoppers who have already purchased us in the initial first 2-3 months. And then we did heavy targeting. And coming from a larger FMCG mindset, we thought, you know, it will be great to create one content and have a repeat marketing of the same with the people, and then generate a lot of conversions. We realized after 3 months of doing this activity that we were not getting enough conversions, rather the funnel was leaking. And later, when we started wearing the hat of a smaller brand and thought like we are D2C, let's not think like GCPL, then we realized that we need to customize our content. There is a content for a regular user, there is a one for lapsed audience, and one for the new user. The moment we did this thing, we realized that we need to apply that 80-20 principle on our products also. We can't be just marketing a product which looks great, but it's not in the top 20%, top 80% sales. And hence we did this thing in the 4th month, and after that the results were amazing. And now our team does it very nicely in a very bracketed format, that for new users, this is the content, this is the targeting mechanism, this is for repeat, and this is for the lapsers. And that's how it was being done.
I completely agree with the point. Like you have to think like consumer while creating the marketing strategy. Oh, awesome. Like, so then my next question is from Deep. So how do you identify your top 20%? How do you identify your top line? And what all are the KPIs?
So identifying top products or the consumers? Just let me clarify the question. Consumer. Okay. So, as rightly pointed out by Abhishek, identifying the underserved market is something that has helped us also grow. So what happens that there are players who are already doing big, targeting the mass, and as a D2C brand, as a small brand, it's very difficult to have a presence felt. So when you launch something for a niche and then you are able to grow from there, it's something that has helped us very well. So one of our range, we have almost 30 SKUs in dips and sauces only targeting Jain population. Now that is a very large population which is underserved. And that has not only gained us entry in the Jain households, but also number of others. So we supply to entire ISKCON temples across India. So that's the kind of things that have happened, and because you identify the markets which are underserved, and then you see how we can serve them, and then we bank on that and grow from there.
So yeah, Kirti, like what's your take on the top line and the KPIs?
So I used to look at a lot of micro data. I would look at 10 transactions every hour. And I started to notice that they were professors, doctors, and I started to seeing a lot of working women and their addresses. So it was clear that working women and highly educated women were buying Okhai. So there was definitely a correlation between higher education levels and understanding of craft and Indian heritage and the appreciation for that and the ability to pay for that. So I think that's where we really found out our 20% where our real revenues were coming from. And then of course, once you understand microdata like that, you're able to design communication which is targeted to them.
And how about like CAC, like customer acquisition cost? How do you like identify that, and how do you like?
You know, we would literally run ads for women who work at Tata or Godrej. And that's really how we started to gather momentum in terms of acquiring our customers at a slightly lower price point. And then we realized, why not go into these offices and do pop-ups? And because of being an artisan organization, a good cause, it was very easy for us to enter offices. We would make immense amount of sales without doing any marketing by just simply entering offices. We did a collection only for lawyers because they find it very difficult to buy black and white outfits for court. And nobody's making it for them. If there's a red button, they're not allowed to wear it. So we simply designed for that consumer.
I had a like very bad experience with the gate crashing. Like I did in the, one of the agency in Mumbai, and they just like, they are not still my client. So yes.
Udit, just adding to Kirti's point. Sorry. Actually she's talking about cohorts, right? And that's what even we do there. One first thing is about when you try to find out your top 20%, I think the first thing is that do we have a very watertight TG in place? And for the brand, it's very important to build brand persona. And for building brand persona, it's important to have a very clear-cut, watertight TG. This is my target group. And then come out of it as a communication TG. And see, D2C gives immense amount of data. Age, city, mobile number, everything is there. So one of the things which comes out, is that you basis their preferences, you make cohorts like the way she was saying, she was saying about, build cohorts and then extensively market to them. I'll give you an example. One of the cohort which came out was that early job seekers living in metros, okay, that became a cohort. And they are the one who are actually looking for in-house parties. And hence the need comes ready to eat meals for them. So that's how the top 20% you identify. Like she has been going to Godrej office.
I agree from your point. I've been to this I have sit like with my like one of the brands like. They were speaking like this, and like these strategies are like.
Sorry to interrupt. One of the cohort came to our studies that the woman who liked the chocolate, that kind of we are having good. They are making repeat buying for us. So we started performance marketing based on that only.
Wow. So yeah, my name.
I think the D2C brand, what everyone is saying as a D2C, everyone who is running D2C, they have to be on toes with eyes open on who is buying, what is his address, what is his name, what is profession, everything you find out from there. For us, being an like lingerie brand, into the two category, one is the regular and is the maternity. So we try to target the maternity also so that after her completion of lactation period, we try to sell them the non-feeding brand. Oh. So they have already cleared they have already tested the product. They are happy with that. So it become easy for us.
Amazing that you have adapted the market.
So we are in process of developing one software also for that one, so that like we can capture exactly at what time she is buying, and accordingly we can do the retargeting marketing or the email marketing to those.
Sure.
Yeah. So Navin, as I know, like you are not from the branding side, like brand side. So what do you suggest, like with the like brand perspective, with your client's perspective? So what do you suggest for a new brand marketer while building a like branding strategy?
Yeah, I'll just extend a thought from the previous question and into this as well. I think when you look at a cohort, everyone likes the repeat customer to be targeted in different methods and different forms of engagement. There's a lot of trigger-based activity. There's a lot of AI available for that. But the truth and reality of that segmentation is that new customer acquisition is really the bulk of all marketing. It still hasn't reached a point where anyone's repeat is over 30, 40, 50%. So, no matter what, it really goes up to targeting. So the top 20 tends to not be your top 20 purchasers that need to get retargeted, but your top 20 in terms of the funnel, in terms of the approach, and in terms of the audiences that we create. I think here too, when you talk about CAC, you made a brief mention of that. I think the challenge we face as, let's say, even marketers, and everyone's a marketer at heart, at least sitting here, one big part of our jobs is that the top of the funnel creation for share of voice or top of the mind recall has a different CAC versus when you move to the middle and then when you move to the bottom. So it is a slightly unfortunate challenge that a lot of performance marketing agencies or even brands probably make the mistake of trying to evaluate the CAC in shorter time frames. Unless you have these cohorts clearly identified, I do believe the CLV is a better, metric. So yeah, I mean, that was one of the thoughts and probably answered parts of both questions.
Yeah. So CLV is like customer lifetime value. So you have to take care of that as well. So like while building the strategy, So we personally take care of that. That's why. So yeah. So starting from Rahul, so which one is more effective, performance marketing or branding?
Brand marketing is the most important. If you don't create brand persona, it will be transactional. First 2-3 months you will feel really good. I did performance marketing, people are buying me. But the reality is that till the time your triers are more than lapsers, you will see business. The moment triers becomes lesser than lapsers, business will go down. And then comes the role of marketing, the brand marketing. Hence brand marketing is the truth.
So how do you calculate the ROI of some brand marketing thing?
See, the thing is that it has to be an activity. The activity done for a marketing, for any acquisition plan, okay, like he said, has to be a long term, right? We have to give Google and Facebook enough time to be able to give insights to us through data learning, and hence minimum 4 to 5 months it has to be done. And basis those period, one has to see your first cost of first acquisition has to be very low. They'll be early adopters, right? And when these people come in, it has to come at a very low cost. However, initial first 4-5 months of yours has to go a lot in terms of targeting people through, so you have already communicated, thought about your brand persona, brand identity, and hence your top 20% is continuously changing, and you are targeting them basis that you are getting insights, so these are the personalities, these are the way people are going in, and you are measuring continuously what output you're getting. So after 4 months, we have to see that the initial cost which we have put into place, has that cost to sales ratio coming down or not? That's one, but after 4-5 months. The second thing is that your initial early adopters need to start playing the role of brand advocates. You have to make brand evangelists from there. If you are able to do that, the ROI will be very high after 4th month. Otherwise, we will be only scanning the surface and looking for people who can still advocate us. Which means once you identified your core people, okay, find more people like them through Facebook and Google using their data. But using the initial one to advocate about your brand, I think is the biggest one. Then ROI will come. Otherwise, it is difficult.
All right. So Abhishek, what's your performance marketing or branding?
I will say hybrid model. You should have the performance marketing as well as
you have to choose one.
So it depends on your stage of the business. If you are very early into the business, you are just launching the product, then you need to do initially the performance marketing so to get the few clients who can be, as Navin who become the brand advocate. If your product, given your product quality is good. And later on, but slow and steady always win the race, so still. So you need to put some money on the branding also every time.
All right. So you are still choosing the hybrid model. Yeah. So Kirti, performance marketing or branding?
I think you can use branding to reduce your performance marketing costs drastically. If you want to build a company that's going to last 100 years, it's branding for you. If you want to make a quick buck, sell your company, don't care about the longevity, do performance marketing.
All right. आप लोग मेरे पेट पे लात पड़वाओगे आप. Yeah. So Naveen, what's your take on performance marketing or
I think
branding?
you wanted to come in on this.
Yeah, anyone can.
So I was differing from all of them and going for performance marketing, and one of
Go with me, man.
One of the reasons that, why? Because Indian consumer is very fickle. I mean, for them, brand is there, but at the same time, Indian consumer looks at the deals. And what we have seen in India that, at the end of the day, they choose between Ola or Uber. ऐसा नहीं कि I'm an Ola customer or a Uber customer. I will travel whichever is faster or whichever is giving me the better deal or whichever is convenient to me at this point of time. So making a sale is more important. And for that comes with performance marketing. But if performance marketing is done in the right way, it does create a brand. So yeah.
So
I just want to add to this that if you're focusing on the 20%, which gives you 80% of your revenues, then that person who is coming back to you again and again and again, the brand matters a lot more to them.
Sure.
So if you're focusing on the 80%, sure enough, deals, all of that will matter.
Yeah, no, I think all good thoughts, and I'm sitting literally in the middle of different views here on this, and I'll also continue to be in the middle. I'll bring another aspect to it. I also believe it is about the category of the product line. There are certain categories where you can push as much performance marketing, but if you don't push the narrative and the storyline, the product won't sell, which is where the brand marketing comes into play. And there is a journey towards a purchase. I'll also bring into that the categories where there are impulse-based purchases versus need-based purchases. I don't think a Q-commerce, the 10-minute delivery madness really needs marketing. Whoever is in it, the consumer downloads an app and goes into it and gets what it wants. It doesn't have to push its catalog per se. So, there is also a skewed understanding of what is performance marketing. I think right now we're talking about performance marketing being Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads. However, there was an interesting word of hybrid, because the volatility of these channels has been a big pain for everyone, and broad basing top of the funnel traffic to multiple channels, I think, is a huge challenge, but an important issue to address for each brand owner. You can't be overly dependent on performance. And the last thought that I'd like to share on the same point is, I really call it, and my analogy is based on sports and cricket in general, but performance marketing in the definition that we are talking about is T20. But a cricketer is remembered by all forms of cricket and whether he played well across the longest forms. And that's what brand marketing does. In an analogy sense, that's what I'd like to say.
All right. So, see, you have to draw a line.
Yeah,
right? You have to draw a line.
I want to just add to this that we are, while talking about performance marketing, we're missing something that is seeming like the future and the solution to performance marketing not working for many people, and that's WhatsApp marketing. WhatsApp commerce seems to be replacing websites. It seems to be building a very deep connect with the 20% of your audience who will actually engage, reply, buy on WhatsApp with you. So I think we should not forget that.
All right. So, so guys, like, how do you build loyalty among your top lines? So like getting the loyalty of your customer is like one of the biggest challenge I have seen for the brands. So how do you create the loyalty among them? Kirti.
By solving their problems. So understand on a deep, in a very deep way that what is it that they're feeling right now, what is their problem. I think when the lockdown began, everyone wanted loungewear, and I think fashion brands very quickly addressed that need. We were a women's wear brand, and we launched men's shorts, because we didn't even see menswear brands launching men's shorts so quickly. And we sold out, I think, understanding what their problem is, and women were buying these for men. So I think it's a very, very important thing to do on a daily basis. With Relove, we're solving the problem of a woman buying a dress and it not fitting her 6 months later. What does she do with this perfect dress? She can go back to the brand's website and resell it. So I think the number of problems you solve for them, that's how much they're going to love you and be loyal to you.
And to market them, like which platform do you like? Will you choose TikTok or Instagram?
Honestly, I think many Indian brands didn't take to TikTok before it got banned, but Instagram definitely is still working. Many founders tell me that they spend more time making reels than they actually spend on creating products. So it is still working. Reels and video content is working, and that's what I would do.
All right. So Deep, like, what's like? How do you build the loyalty among your top line?
So definitely, I see that we are into food space, and in food, it's very important to have good quality and consistent quality, and that's what most of even the clothing wear, or it's the initially you can sell with the brand, or with the you can give them a promise, but at the end of the day, you should come true to what you are saying. So you need to actually have a product, and that is the hero when it comes to resale. Because resale will not happen on the brand name, resale will not happen on the, how, who is there on your, if Deepika Padukone or somebody else is selling your product. It will happen if your product is good. And I believe that, we need to focus as much time on the creating the product and finalizing how good the product is, and, being true to that. That's something we need to all need. I think everybody will agree with that.
Which platform like TikTok, like MX Rakatak, or Instagram?
Platform, I believe right now Instagram is there. I mean, Instagram is the only platform that is working. I mean, people have moved away from Facebook. I mean, TikTok is banned, and I mean, Google. I don't know. It's not.
All right. So Navin, like from
adding to his part on the product. See, I'll give you an analogy. So I work in both food space and the non-food right now. I think one thing which I continuously heard from the companies I worked is that product is the truth. It is the truth. If you start cutting corners to make margins, okay, the consumer will cut you down at some point in time, right? And then some of the brands, if you see in India, who are still iconic, they are the ones who are still living with the truth of the product. I'll not take the name of the product of the companies I work with, but if you think of Iodex or Borolin also, not even Boro Plus, Borolin, okay? They have their segment of people who swear by them, right? And hence product is the truth. And adding to the part on loyalty, I think the way we do in regular media is that we say something called share of voice, which is what is the percentage of ATL GRPs is what your brand is having. I think in this new age, we need to also have a percentage share of voice, okay, for these top 20% or top 30, 40, whichever way we want to segment it, that if your share of voice is very high with them and your product is right, then that is where the advocacy comes in place, which will drive loyalty. Otherwise, loyalty is very difficult to get. Even for a bigger brands, it's very difficult.
No, I agree on that.
In the food industry, like too much, like there are like, lots of player you can find when you talk about the like food industry. Yeah. Please, Abhishek, like what's your like strategy for the loyalty?
As everybody said, like the product is the first truth. Second one, that we do interact with our customers. Obviously, it's not possible to interact with all customers, but we have segmented, like depending on their buying pattern. Like if somebody is buying for the third time, so our customer care team call them and ask and said them, "Ma'am, you are buying for third time, so we are here to give you a gift. Like we want to give you one panty or something, some product, which she can use it practically." And by saying this, we are able to see the customer is convinced, okay, she's getting some free gift, but she's giving her 5 minutes also. That 5 minutes we utilize in asking them, how are you happy with the product or not? What changes you want? Is there any daily routine problems you want to be addressed to this? So we take this, all these comments, and we do include in our products also in that.
All right, so I think so. It's a time for rapid fire. So you guys will have like 1 minute to answer like that particular question. So Rahul, like what is branding to you?
Identity.
Identity. Like you have 1 minute. You can speak.
Achha, I have 1 minute. You said rapid fire.
We have to utilize the time.
Yeah. So see, when you say Mahendra Singh Dhoni, it's a brand, right? So he has a certain identity. And hence the brand which we talk about, we have multiple brands here. A lot of people are here, right? So brand is basically what is your identity, what is the persona, what does it stand for? And that is where we derive all those psychographic of a particular consumer to understand what people think about this particular brand. And hence it is the ultimate truth. right? Even by the color, by the logo, by the design, the way it looks, it is your identity. So yeah.
All right. So, Abhishek, how do you apply branding on social media?
So branding, first of all, right now is the Gen Z generation time. So the application of the branding should be done in the Instagram Reels form only in the social media, where the actual customer in the actual way they are presenting the product or they are speaking about the product. Should not be kind of a MOOC or it should not be kind of an, sorry to use one, I will not name the brand name, but one shop company use that it is so milky and so soft and having the good model. So that is not truth. So current generation require the branding with the real, whatever the persona the brand is showing, that should be reflected in the terms of the social media also.
All right. So, Kirti, branding or design?
Design enables branding, right?
Yeah.
So I think to your first question, I was thinking about how brand is not just a logo, but it's you understanding my character, my personality, knowing me not just as a logo, but as a human being and what my approach would be. And not just as an Instagram page, but as a complete human being. I think that's branding to me.
Superb. Like, Navin, what, like email marketing or SMS marketing, and why?
So our experience has been more tilted towards email marketing. We feel that SMS marketing, clearly you've got a much better alternative with WhatsApp commerce because that's the messaging channel. And overall, it's also about the communication from a branding standpoint. I think our learning has been, right now it is about the journey from content to commerce. So, it is the storytelling and it is the narrative. So that's been our learning.
So, Deep, like, what do you include in branding guidelines for the profitability?
So basically, branding guidelines for us is, it's drool worthy or not. But the thing is, it should, entice someone to, it has the product, whatever you are selling, it has to be aspirational to the consumer. That's something what they want. They create a want for around it, and that's something is very important.
All right. So, from this note, like, we can wrap up the session. Guys, if you have any question, you can ask.
Someone there.
Can someone get him a mic, please?
Yeah. Meanwhile, Deep, I just want to say that it was so nice that he put his brand guideline in one line, whereas we have brand books that we share with agencies that this is our brand book, please follow this. But drool worthy, that's so easy. That's so easy for every employee to follow and every social media manager to follow, everyone to follow. I'm going to use that.
It's very relevant for this category as well.
Different category.
Hi, firstly, thank you. It was a great session. My question is to Rahul. When you talk about Godrej and the D2C that it has, I'm talking about the house of brands, right? So what shopper mission does it address for the shopper? Because why would a shopper not buy from an Amazon and buy from a Godrej D2C? So how does that impact? I mean, what is the assortment strategy for your D2C, which is the house of brands?
Yeah. Thanks. I think it's a lovely question. I think when we thought of starting a D2C, the premise was not about solving a shopper mission. It was actually stemming from the fact that the consumers are changing. The consumers are looking for solutions which are directly made for them. And if you see in the last 4 or 5 years, the way India is evolving, and India actually is taking some of the cues from China or other developed economies, which are digitally evolving. And when, if you will see that, if the scale of education and scale of digital evolution increases, people tend to want more customized solutions. And that is where D2C thing comes out. That is where we thought, when the shoppers are changing, why not have a particular brand? And hence Be Blunt, and then we have Air, which is a home freshener, also is on our D2C format. We have got goodness.me. There we thought, let's start in small scale and see what people are looking for. And like you're asking for about Amazon, why not sell through Amazon? We do that, right? However, all these platforms actually helped us in finding out what are the keywords people are looking for. One of the keyword which people were looking for in the styling segment was hot shot, okay, which is about, those sprays which you can just spray on the hair just before a party. And basis that we launched a product which we were selling only in D2C. And hence, actually Amazon and all those portals were a good tool for us to find the right keywords for the consumer, and we developed a D2C brand, a product through it. Now answering the other part, do you have a different assortment, strategy, or different portfolio? Yeah, we do have. We do have. Some of the products which we see which are selling in D2C are not the ones which are selling in retail, because retail, and I'm sure everyone here will experience this thing, many a times it is the retailer who's deciding what needs to go on the shelf, then what you truly feel what has to go on the shelf, right? And then some of those brands of ours sometimes gets missed out. But we try to get scale from D2C angle and use those reviews and data to then convince a retailer then, hey man, this sells, please introduce. So that's how it's done.
I would like to add one thing. Not everything that sells online does sell offline. So, there would be certain, niche that, consumers which they will be only buying online. So there has to be a certain differentiation between the products that you sell online, and then the offline products has to be a more mass combination.
Yeah, I think this is because of the buyer persona. Yeah, you have to create the buyer persona and you can market accordingly. Anyone else?
A couple of questions.
Hey, so my question is, like, any brand which is in their scale mode, and let's say for the first 5 to 6 months they were getting 4x ROAS, so return on investment, and they were happy, hunky-dory, but now the time comes that it has dropped to, let's say, 1x. And obviously I understand retention is equally important to make the unit economics positive. But is there a formula for any new entrepreneur that, okay, if your ROAS has gone down and this much of ROAS you can sustain to grow if you have, let's say, an average 15% retention rate? So how exactly an entrepreneur should calculate that before they scale further?
I can share some of my views. It's not very conclusive, but I think part of the session was also talking about profitability. Glad you, allowed us to spend the last 5 minutes on it, though. See, there is in the digital space, there is this entire clutter that is, rising the CPMs. So your cost per impressions are going up significantly, and that's not, I think CPM is a metric that is outside of a businessman's control. Or an entrepreneur's control, because you're fighting for the same real estate that a white hat junior is fighting for, or Byju's is, versus a CPG 300 rupees product. It's the same CPMs. Unfortunately, an ad platform hasn't solved for this. We don't have CPMs by category. It's a huge challenge, but obviously they don't specifically care about it because there are a lot more advertisers and the money would go on that side. So, given that volatility, I think the bigger challenge is it's tough for a new age entrepreneur to think too much about loyalty or repeat, because depending on your product line, maybe your repeat cohort is 6 months. In certain, it could be 1 month. So it will take that patience. I think the post-order journey and that leakage is killing in many categories. In some, especially soft lines, I don't know which category would you like some understanding of. But let's say if it is soft lines, the gross to net drip is nearly 30% at some times. And the marketing dollars are going on gross, but the P&L is on net. And there is where I think there is, the two main issues is, dropping ROAS, which anyway is going down. In CPG categories, etc., 2 or 3 ROAS is now what the landscape is, no matter who tells what. You could have certain fashion brands, etc., that could still be giving 4 to 9x, but there are categories which, if anyone's saying that they're getting more than 3x in today's day and age, then there's magic happening, not a formula. You need formula though, because you can't base it on magic. I think the post-order journey, everything between the first order to the second order is what, in terms of the entire CLV, will eventually bring down your overall ROAS or customer lifetime, your cost of acquisition. But even within a transaction, I think that entire RTO space where where you need more data, you need more AI to guide on which PIN code should be serviceable on prepaid versus COD. It sometimes isn't good enough to just get gross ROAS where you'd find via analytics that you're not being able to gross any net. So I think PIN code, RTO, trying to see if there are certain parts of the catalog that are causing your 80-20 issue, trying to work on them on the side. Because otherwise, the big issue, and I know it's a challenge for us, is marketers aren't incented on the net. They're incentivized on the gross. So unless the KPIs get mapped, where it is more in line with the entrepreneur and his business, this is going to continue being a challenge.
Yeah. Anyone? So yeah, so we can wrap up the session. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.